Hey, how about you, everybody? Today we're looking at two-sided setups for CNC router projects and also sort of an update to my very first video from like 5 years ago. Uh, I made that first video on how I made a 1911 grip fixture and just sort of going over my setup process. And I hate to tell you, I haven't used that setup or that fixture in I don't even know how long. I don't even know where it is anymore. So this is just going to be an update on how I make them in 2026 and also just a good opportunity to go over two-sided setups. So before we get too deep, let's take a look at all of our setup components. Let's see, let's isolate that. So we have our fixture plate, and I made this out of a piece of MDF, and it just has a 1/4 inch hole grid pattern. And each hole has a 1/4 20 threaded insert, and that's what I use for any kind of clamps, hold down, stuff like that. And of course, we have our grips. Shout out to Laughs Dynamics on the C for these cool looking grips. If you know, you know. Now we also have our setup stock for side A, and it's just a single rectangular piece of wood or whatever you're going to machine these out of. This would also work if you like had two book matched scales or something like that. We also have these tabs. I went ahead and modeled separately. You can use some toolpaths that generate tabs within the toolpath setup, but I just went ahead and did these separately. It works a little better for this application. And finally, we have our locator discs. I used my 3D printer to make these. If you had a lathe, you can make these pretty easy as well. But I use this instead of having some kind of like right angle alignment tool or trying to use an indicator on my rinky dink CNC router to square up the part to the machine. These do, good enough for this kind of job. Another thing to keep in mind for a two-sided setup, you want to keep at least two corners square because we're actually going to be using the same vertex for both sides of this corner right here. So we're going to take the side A or side 1, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to flip it in the x-axis, which I've already created a axis for right here. So we're just going to flip our part along that axis before we transition to the second op and use this same vertex. Well, I guess it'd really be this vertex right here for the second op. And I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. I've already completed this project, so this is just sort of a run through. I'm not going to go through all the tool paths, but we have our side B stock and our side B grips right here. You can see they're already flipped over. Same vertex, just flipped along this axis here. So let's go ahead and make all this visible again. All right. And we'll move over to our manufacturer workspace. Oh, something didn't jive. Let's see, need to re-establish our stock. All right, X and Z plane or axis. And we'll just regenerate these. Come on, there we go. Oh, one more thing. That's right, that's right. We need to flip it. There we go. And we'll regenerate again. Where is it? All right, so let's take a look at what this is actually supposed to look like. So we've selected our grips as our model, our grips 1 as our model. We've zeroed out our fixture clearances. We've established an X and a Z, or excuse me, a Z and an X axis here and here. And we're using this modeled rectangle for our setup stock. Like I said, this vertex here is our work coordinate. And we have all of our programs here. And what we want to do is simulate all the programs to completion. That looks good. So we have no issues. So now what we want to do is right click, stock, and you want to save your stock. And that'll generate a mesh that we're going to use for our setup B stock. Hey, it's me from the future. I realized I kind of glossed over that whole flipping the stock step, so I just wanted to go over it real quick. What you want to do is from your manufacturer space where you saved your stock mesh, you want to go back to design, click this button right here, insert mesh, and from there you will select wherever you saved the stock at, whether it be on the cloud or somewhere on your computer, and it will throw it into these bodies right here. And so what I do from there is I just convert it to its own component. And then you want to go to move copy, select your new stock. Oh, change that to components first. Then select your new stock. Then you'll select that axis you put along X, and then flip it to 180 degrees and click OK. And then you'll just repeat that step for your copied grips component as well. All right, back to it. Now I've already done that step, so we'll take a look. We'll just hide this stuff and make this visible. So now you can see this is the mesh. And like I said, I had to go back to the design space and use that axis we created along X to flip over our stock and make a copy of it to use as the setup stock for setup B. You can see the grips are here. Grips number 4, because I did this I don't know how many times. Same. Oh, wait, select. There we go. And set up stock B. And we'll just regenerate these. Whoops. I did it again. Flip. Generate. Again. There we go. Guess we can hide these tabs too. You can see I use these tabs to hold the grips in place while we do all the outside machining. We can hide that stock. We can take a look at what those look like. And I just use a not a half inch, a quarter-inch flat, an eighth-inch flat, and a tapered ball. I think it's a eighth-inch tapered ball to do these grips from start to finish. And that's it. Did this little undercut, did this counterbore. Oh, and I used an engraving tool to add that little chamfer right there. So that's the latest and greatest version of my 1911 grip setup. I kind of bull rushed through this, so if you have any questions, just drop a comment or shoot me an email, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.